This great topic is a great couple, none other than Frank and Carol Katubeho. Yes, and remember this show is in partnership with Life Ministry Uganda. You can always check them out on their social media platforms or website. They will be happy to connect with you. Ladies and gentlemen out there, why don't you join me? Welcome the Katubehos. Yes, happy to have you on the show, Frank and Carol.
We're happy to.
Yes. Will you please say hello to the viewers, and then after we'll continue with this show.
Hello viewers, we love you out there. We are blessed to be here to speak to you tonight, and we hope it's going to be a great time of talking about preparing our children for second term. Yes.
Thank you, Claire.
You're
Hello,
welcome.
viewers. Good evening. We are pleased to be here. We thank God for this opportunity. We pray that God makes use of us to communicate to you as He wishes, and we pray all goes well in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. You've made a powerful prayer. Happy to have you, Carol, and happy to have you, Frank. How is it? Have your children gone back to school, or are you preparing them for school? How is it like, especially the pocket-wise?
Yes, just like many of the parents out there, we are trying to prepare them. We have two children. One is in S4 in Gayaza, one is in S1 in Milyango, and they pay some good money, so we're trying to gather to make sure that by tomorrow the pocket is ready enough to pay in the bank, because they will have 2 days from today to be going to school. So we are trying to get prepared, but we are.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, we are.
Carol, as a mother in the house, how is it like? Are you trying to look out for bunena or?
Thank you, Claire. As a mother of the house, I have tried my best for the time we've been together. Of course, they have spent some little time with us, but as a mother, I have tried my best to do the needful. I have tried to talk to them, to guide them, to teach them. So and we have, as parents, tried to work together as we prepare to take them back to school. We have most of the things in order already.
Okay, that's nice. Going back in time, how do you compare your days when you were going to school to the days now?
Our times were terrible times. Times there was no preparation. You would only need to make sure your bed sheets are washed, and then your parents would just give you little money to buy soap and maybe toothpaste, and they say you and then you organize locally to get some bunena, peanuts roast. You get some soya, you roast. You get some bananas somewhere, because then during my time, for example, there were no supermarkets, so we were not really. We were not heavy burdened like it is now, where when some children are going to school, you think they are doing kuhinjira for them. They carry pickups and lorries of stuff. For us, we are putting everything in a small case, and it would fit.
Oh, that's nice. What's your take on that, Carol?
Yeah, of course, things have changed. When we were going to school those days, our parents would pay school fees, and some of the things we would just look around for hard corns. you roast them locally and pack that and go with that. They will tell you there is food at school, so fees has been paid, so what you do, prepare and go and do the reading. Yes.
Oh my God. And you'd still pass even without cornflakes.
Yes.
Oh, that's quite interesting. Well, now in schools there's a trend of prom parties. Have you heard about that?
Yes, we have. It's a new phenomenon. During our time, we used to have social hour. You'd invite, I was in a boys' school, you'd invite the girls in a nearby school, and you do a dance. I remember I would even borrow shoes. You have borrow the trouser, a shirt, And after lunch, you just have 2 hours of socialization, and then you end it there. But today, over time, I've seen it grow until the recent, episode of having choppers fly in the skies, that there's prom. So it's a new thing, but it's overtaking us as a storm.
Okay, so what's your take on that as a father for beginners, and then
yeah, I think I am an educationist. I have been a teacher before. I have 2 docents. I strongly condemn not the motive. The motive may be good for children to socialize and refresh after a heavy term, so they prepare for mocks and final examination. But I think parents have allowed it to go beyond their understanding, but also beyond their means. And if we don't confront it at this level, children are going to steal. They are going to do everything possible to get a nice suit, to get a nice car, to get a nice gift for the friend. So I think as parents and stakeholders like Ministry of Education, we need to rise up and say, no, this has to be controlled. Otherwise, it's going to be a very big liability in the near future.
Okay, thank you for your take. As a mother, what's your say in this?
Of course, things have changed. During our time, we would have some social hour, but we wouldn't, go to, rent out dresses, go to salons to improve our looks, apply that makeup and all that. We would simply put on our simple dresses and attend the party, and the day ends like that. But these days, I think this thing has been exaggerated, and somehow it is bothering the learners, because before it even approaches, some students are wondering, what am I going to do when it comes? Yes, it worries them, and it is becoming a problem. Those who can't get money from their parents, they are wondering where they're going to get the money to make sure they fit in this. So as a mother, I think it needs to be regulated, like my husband has said. Somehow it shouldn't go beyond the limits. Yeah, we don't need to hire choppers to come for these proms. Yes, we can keep it simple. People have some good time without, stretching so hard. Yeah. So I think it can be regulated, and for all to be able to accommodate whatever is being enjoyed.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you very, very much. Like you already know, we are talking about preparing children for the new term. To begin with, why is it important for us as parents to actually prepare these children for the new term?
Yeah, thank you so much, Claire. I think just like any other event, even when it's a wedding, we have preparation meetings. We prepare the man, we prepare the lady, and they counsel them, they prepare them for the new life in marriage. Just like that happens, we need to prepare our children, because school is not their home. There are many things that may have happened last term that are likely to happen this term, and they will affect these children. For example, children grow physically, socially, spiritually, socio-emotionally. All of those areas have issues. So you could find academically a child did not do well. If you don't handle this aspect, the child will go with a lot of fear. You could find a child who was abused at school by either a fellow child or a teacher. So the child needs to overcome that. You could find the child financially did not, like children go to a school where they don't, by points they made it, but by the pocket they don't fit in that school. So they cannot have a cafe Java's pizza, and that affects them. So preparing children for the next term is very critical, but I think, Claire, it is important that we first assess how the last term was, so that then we have the background on which we can build for the next term.
Okay. Yes. What's your take on that? Why is it really important for parents to prepare their children?
Yes, thank you so much, Claire. Personally, I think it is important for parents to prepare these learners, because learners, they are human beings, they are growing up, they need to be prepared. They go through so many things, more than we can imagine. So we need to have time to prepare for them in different ways. It is important to prepare for them so that when we send them to school, then they are not sent back to us because of one issue or the other, because they were not prepared for very well. Yes, but for example, we need to know this child, how are they mentally, how are they before they go to school. We need to know about them. Are they mentally stable? How about their physical health? Are they okay, or they are sick, they may need medication? So you need to prepare for the child. If it needs taking them to hospital, take them so that they get treatment before they are, it is not good for a child to reach school and then they are sent back barely a week at school. They are sent back to you at home. So, and also it is important to know about what could be bothering them mentally, so that, for example, there are some depressed learners. When you prepare for them very well, then that means you will, where necessary, even seek some therapy for them, so that when they go to school, they're able to concentrate and do what has taken them to school.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, thank you very much. I think that is really well stated. But I'm also led to ask this question. Here you are preparing for children to go to school, but there are some parents who didn't go to school. They didn't have a chance to go to school, and now they are preparing their children to go to school. And I know we prepare, like you mentioned, Carol, we prepare them in different ways, physically, whatever, and now you're preparing them academically. You didn't go to school yourself. What did you say about that?
Thank you so much, Claire. That question applies to me because my parents had not studied, and they would do simple shopping, soap and this. They would not even interpret the report. They would not know whether you made to repeat or they say you are below average. But what they would do, they had friends that had gone to school, and they used to bring them home, and they would even say, bring your report, and he looks at it. Or this one is a teacher, can you ask him? So I advise parents who have not gone to school to use their social network. They have friends in their community who have gone to school. They even have relatives who can actually step in and either interpret a report or give counsel to this child. Because the moment children find that the parent cannot understand, especially like the new curriculum now in secondary school, where they say if you have a 3, you have done better than a 1. Originally, a 1 was a distinction and a 3 was a credit. So now children may use this to confuse their parents, where I have a 3. They say, now that I have a 3, you see, a 3 is actually good, a 1 is a failure. But they could confuse the parents and say, you see, I got 1 in all my 10 subjects. Meaning I have distinction 1, yet that is the minimum you can get in secondary school. So we encourage parents to use the other networks. They could have a teacher in the neighborhood, a teacher from a nearby secondary school who can help to do that you would do as a parent. But because you didn't go to school, do other things, shop. But when it comes to academic, get someone to play the role of an educated parent, because we encourage parents to get mentors for their children. When I was growing up, I didn't get that opportunity, but my children now, I ask them, whom do you think would be a good mentor? They say so and so. So they can get these mentors from, like my wife here teaches in Makerere College, and in a community where we live, there could be parents that need to understand a few things about performance. She could give that help to such children. So I think parents should not just leave it, but they can get some people to step in.
Okay, wow, thank you very much. Another question to you. You mentioned that you're an educationist, and maybe Kara, you also give your take on that. Nowadays we see many people graduate from different courses, but they end up doing totally different things. You have graduated as an engineer, and here you are maybe in marketing. You've graduated as a doctor. Boom, you find yourself somewhere else. What do you advise people out there? Because it's a little bit, some are actually left depressed. They look for jobs in their areas of specialization they do not get, and then they have to find themselves in a whole totally different world. What's your take on that? Or what's your advice in that?
Thank you so much again. That's $1 million question. We have a big mismatch today between what the child wants to do and what the parents want the child to do. We also have a mismatch between the jobs that could, the courses that could avail jobs, and then there are those courses that have no jobs, and children do not know all this. So either they do a course because the parent wants that course, like, but we have also created an environment where if you do well, for example, in science, you go for engineering or you go for medicine. You cannot get 8 in 8, a boy 8 in 8 and he goes for history and CRE to be a lawyer, but you have to go for medicine. Even when you have no passion about medicine, you go because you did well, you progress and do medicine. But we also have other cases where the parent says, I want you as a medical doctor, yet me I wanted to be a social worker, or I want to be a comedian, like Anne Kansim. I taught Anne Kansim in Bweranyanja. I remember she was very passionate about that, and today she is. But maybe the parents could even have said, we want a lawyer. So you go, you do law, after that you bring it to the parents, and you say, me, I've gone for my comedy, or I'm going to do this. So we advise parents out there, sit with the child and look at weaknesses, strength, and passion. A child may have too much strength for PCB, but the passion is not for medicine. So there must be a compromise between my passion, my ability, my interest. And we want parents to only do the role of availing information, but the child should be able to pick what they want. Even when there's no job in future, if it is your passion, you can hang in there. But if it's not your passion, you look for a job for 2 months, you give up, because after all, that was not your choice. The choice was for your parents. So in fact, we have too much of a problem where young people are doing courses because they have been painted good courses. It's law, it's medicine, it's engineering, and everybody runs into that. And after we see saturation, there are too many lawyers. Others did law, they are teaching. They didn't need to do law. Others did engineering, they are in communication. Perhaps they work, you find them in family TV. When you ask, they did engineering or they did medicine. So I think the career masters, the parents, the universities need to avail information to these young people so they make the right choice, especially where their passion is. I think I underline the word passion.
Okay, okay. Same take from you, Cara?
Yes, thank you very much, Claire. I think like Frank, my husband, has said, some of the learners do some courses just because their parents want them to do those courses. It is not where their interest is. So you find a child is going to study some course to please their parent. After completing the studies, he will just bring the degree home and place it there for the parent. and go and try other things out. But I would advise maybe the parents to sit with their children and listen to them. What do the children have to say about their studies? I know there's, some of the things happening in the country can force some parents to take some decisions. For example, now it is known that scientists are valued more than artists. So you find that even the students amongst themselves, they are discussing it. They are wondering, now, for me, if I do arts, what will I do? So they end up doing some courses when they have no interest there. So it is important for the parents to sit with the children, find out where their interest is, look at their weaknesses and strengths, then encourage them to do that which they find interest in, and support them, avail the materials that are needed by the child to accomplish their dream, and be in their life. It is important that the parents support the children as they choose on what course to take or to study, and support them all the way. I think it will work out better if they agree from the start as parent and child on what to do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. And still with you, Teacher Carol. As a teacher, sometimes we see people testify there after their education that I was in school, I was not performing well, and then my teachers were on my case, you're dull, you're what? But right now, where are the people that were winning me? You've had such stories. Yes. Where are the people that are winning me? I'm living a better life. Now, what is your advice in that, where someone is not performing well at school, but they become successful even after school?
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a good question. Of course, it is not good for us as parents or teachers to talk negative about maybe a time taker, a student who is not performing very well, and then you start attacking them over their poor performance. It is always important to encourage the learner, the student. Encourage, be there to support, not to discourage. Yes, be there to support, not to discourage, because at the end of it all, this child will succeed, and you will get surprised. The person you were looking down on who has excelled somewhere in some area, and it will come back to you. You were trying to look down on them, but now they have flourished and they are shining. So it is always important as parents and teachers together to always encourage all the learners. All of them, let's look at them as the same. Yes, encourage those that are time takers. And I wouldn't actually encourage those who separate learners and put only the bright ones alone, and then the time takers alone. No, it is okay to mix them, and then they will discuss, and they work their way out. We are there to support all the learners, because you don't know what the child is going to become in future. Wow. Yes.
That's very beautiful. And you actually talked about where, stream so-and-so is for the bright students, and then this, I like the way you call it, stream this is for the time takers. I think it's not really, really good. Yes, thank you very much. Back to you, Frank. We are in a season where we have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have all those social media platforms. And now when children are in holiday, they have their own pages, and they are actually big people on social media. They have a following and all that. So what's your advice? Because at the end of the day, they might be celebrities and the influencers. What's your advice, or how can you help such a person to be able to concentrate on school, because when you have tested the money and the fame, sometimes you tend to, fail to balance. What's your advice? Should they stop and first concentrate on school, or how can they be able to balance the two?
It's a tight question, but as a parent and as a mentor and as someone that has been here, I think parents need to control. Actually, out there are so many things coming: Instagram, whatever, Netflix, then Snapchat, and many are yet to come to us. And if we allow our children to access everything that comes through the phone, I see trouble. Me and my wife here, we have, for example, not given phones to our children. We have an S1, we have an S4. What we have done, they have computers. They can go to the computer for studies, and then we give them, they have a router, they access internet, because a computer is almost a public thing. They wouldn't do private like they do on the phone. I have a friend who visited us recently, and he was wondering, he was amazed that our children came on the table for lunch. And he said, for me, my children don't come for lunch. They are always in their bedrooms, on phones. And I said, as a parent, you have lost these children. Why even the time for coming together on a meal, they are on their, whatever, on social media. So I'm telling parents out there, we must control this. This is a dragon that has come, and it is taking our children. Our children are getting things which should be the things that me and my wife should know or do, are the things they are reading every time. And those things are creating addiction. I have been to schools, Claire, where I even have a questionnaire from one of the students I met somewhere, who said that she has been doing masturbation for 3 years, and she feels she doesn't even have energy to do academic work. I also remember a student I met somewhere who says, I've been doing masturbation, but I said, how did you learn? She said, I learned it, I got it from the phone. Who gave you the phone, mommy? How do you use the phone at home? He said, I'm always in my bedroom, and my parents don't care what I'm doing in there. So parents out there, if you can know what our children know from social media, we'll just get worried. Some parents can die of shock if they got to know what our children know just from this gadget here. So I think this must be controlled. In schools, they don't access phones. At home, when they come, they sleep with phones, they eat with phones, they spend time on phones, and parents are saying, oh, this is the generation of the phones. So my advice is that let's control, give them gadgets like computer, let them use, for example, your phone for surfing or getting any academic material, but let's not give these gadgets to the children, and we add data, and children all the time they are possessed by what they see. Others are already performing badly in class, but besides that, morally they are decaying. I think that is the critical bit of this. Leave around the academics, because that's the physical body, but the soul, the spirit is almost gone because of what they feed on. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. You have something to say, Kara? I see you smiling.
Yes, Claire, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's something interesting. About the phones, I think there are also reasons as to why phones are becoming phones these days. I think one of the reasons is because most of the parents are busy, and they think they can, allow their children to have the phones the way they want. Maybe, of course, the children are going to say they are going to use the phones for, to search for some internet work, because we are getting, digital, digital. So they think it is okay to have the phones. For me, I think as a person, parents need to pay attention to their children. It is okay, maybe if they want to search for something, you can assist them with a phone, but giving them all the freedom to do what they want with the phones, we are losing them somehow. We tried it sometime before we took the phones out from children. we tried it out because they were crying for the phones. You see, telling us everyone has a phone. You see, our friends have phones, and we try to give them phones. But after giving them the phones, we try to monitor them. But what did we discover? They had blocked us on social media.
Oh no!
And they had started posting things which were not interesting.
Oh my God!
Because of that, we decided to withdraw the phones, and we sat with them and we talked. We said, "Look here, we gave you these phones, and we thought you were going to use them the right way, but see what you have done." We got to know somehow. You thought you had blocked us, but there are people who have your contact somehow, and they got to tell us what you're posting. Some of the things are not so amusing, so we agreed, and they said, okay, we are sorry, you can have the phone. Yes, and they gave us the phones. If they apologized and handed over the phones to us. So the problem nowadays, which I'm seeing, is parents do not have time for their children. They are busy at work. They think making money is enough. They think bringing school fees home and giving the child enough pocket money is enough. It is not. Yeah, you need to get involved in the child's life, create time and be with them instead of allowing them to be on phone all the time. Even screen time should be limited. You shouldn't allow them to be parented by phones and TVs and house helps at home. It is important that as parents we limit the usage of phones, and instead as parents we come in and create time with our children, because these children need us. They need us. If we don't get intentional to be with them, that bonding, we are going to lose it, and we are going to regret, because what the phones are doing, I think social media is destroying our children. That is for a fact. Of course, some parents will say, what are these people talking about? The truth is that social media is destroying the children. I mean, there is time for everything, yes? Personally, I think if they first pursued their education, they first complete their studies, they can always have these phones. But also it is important that you sit down as a parent, sit down with your child, tell them the importance of education, continue talking. Of course, parenting is a full-time job, yes. Sit with them, talk to them about the importance of education. Let them first focus on the education. After acquiring the education, they can have all these things themselves, instead of rushing for them and then they fail to achieve what they want. Because to be honest, most of the children now, instead, when they get into holidays, instead of focusing on revision, all the time is spent on phones. And what are they searching for? Funny things that are not helping them. So it is important that we chase first things first. That's what I think, and I would encourage parents out there to speak to their children, to focus on what is important, what matters most first. Yes.
Wow. This is getting hotter and hotter and hotter. Well, what are some practical tips for parents to help their children transition smoothly into a new term?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I think some of the tips, first of all, to me, I think it is important to get to know about the child before sending this child to school. How is this child? How is the home where this child is? Is it dysfunctional or it is an okay family? Because I am a teacher by profession, like we already mentioned here. We have come to realize that most students are depressed because partly because of the dysfunctional families they come from. So it is important to get to know where this child is coming from. As a parent, how is it at home? How is everything? You know, children are very, very brilliant and wise. Whenever they are at home, they are watching us as parents. So in this home where this child is, before you send this child to school, how is the environment? Is it a conducive environment, or it is toxic and it is going to affect this child when you send them to school? When you get to think of that as a parent, then you get to realize that it is important for you as parents to, before taking your child to school, get to put your home in order so that the environment is conducive for the child you're sending to school. Otherwise, you're going to send the child when they are mentally unwell, and it is going to affect their performance even. Some will end up breaking down. So as parents, before sending their children to school, how is it at home? Yes, let's think about that as parents. It is important. If there are issues to resolve, don't do it in front of the learners. That is one. If you have issues to resolve, let it not be in front of the children, because these children are watching everything that you're doing, and there's a way it disturbs their mind psychologically. Yes, it affects them. When they go to school, you find them they may not tell you as your parents, but they tell their friends it is not well at home, and it affects them. You find them, worried about what is happening. Are they talking now? Are our parents talking now, or they are still in silent treatment? Are they fighting? There's sometimes domestic violence in front of their children. So before you send your child to school, how is the environment at home? It is important that we think about that. Then too, I think we should try and provide the requirements that are needed for the child. Of course, schools provide circulars, there's information about the school, the requirements. Some parents don't read those circulars. So as a parent, as you prepare to take your child to school, get to know what is needed at school so that you put everything in place. You take the child when the things that are needed at school are there. Also, I think another tip, before taking this child, it is important that you sit with them and talk. Let them try to have an open conversation with them. Let them tell you how it is at school. How is it? You must create time and befriend your child if you want them to tell you about things at school. And when you become their friends, they are going to tell you everything. So they will tell you how the term was. Before sending them for the second term, maybe they can tell you how last term was and their worries about the following term. And where possible, you can intervene as a parent. Yes, and I think it is also important before we take them to school to teach them organization so that they get to know that it is important to follow a routine. Yes, things are done in order. When you wake up, what do you do first? What do you do next? So that when they get to school, they follow the school routine. They will know at home we follow this routine. Yes, so here at school it may be different, but there is another routine that we can follow like we do at home. So it is important that we teach them that. Wow. And also it is important that we care to see what our children are doing when they are at home, because charity begins at home. Let them get involved into work. Teach them, this is your child. If you don't teach this child, who is going to teach this child for you? Teach them how to do the washing. Let's start there. Some children don't know how to wash their own clothes. When they reach out school, it becomes a struggle. So it is important that we teach our children how to do the washing, how to do some other chores like cooking. It is important that we also teach them how to arrange their things so that when they go to school, they keep themselves in order. Yes, they keep themselves in order without the parent having to tell them everything. The parent is at home, but the child is at school and they know what to do. Yes, please.
Wow, that's a good one from you, Carol. Wow, thank you very much. I know we are really time bad. So how can parents help their children? That's for you, Frank. How can parents help their children set goals and expectations for the upcoming term?
Thank you so much, Claire. Adding up, starting from where my wife ended, these children had last term at school. They have come home. Like she said, parents, it's our duty to read the reports, evaluate, analyze, assess, make comments, and you start from there to set goals. If you did not do well in mathematics last term, this time I want you have 30, this time at least I want 55. I've had this with my daughter. We had to set the target for this term, what I expect from mocks. And just like we say, that goals should be smart, they should be specific, measurable, but most important, achievable. Let's not tell the child I need 4 aggregate, I need 8 in 8. The ability of my child I can see is 20 in 8, but parents are saying to us you must get 8 in 8. So caution for parents out there, as we set the targets with the child, look at the ability of the child, but also look at the passion and the desire for this child. If he wants to excel in music, that's why he wants to concentrate. If you want to excel in engineering, tell him. My son is talking about robot engineering, and we're saying we must up our game in mathematics and physics. So set the goals in that area where the child has interest. But I want to say these goals, of course, should have time. Like you say, this term I want 50 in math. Then the third term I want a 70. But don't say I want a 70 when this child has 20 now. So I have already done that with my children. We looked at the position in class and we say, if you have beaten 50 or 100 in class, next time I want you to beat around 120. So we have already set targets, and I think without focus, no one will work. Parents, just know, if you don't set goals and targets with your child, they will go to school and they will bring anything home because they went without targets, they went without focus.
Wow, that's so true. That's quite true. So how can parents help their children cope with any anxiety or stress they may have about starting a new term, or even stress when they're already at school?
Yeah, my wife is a professional counselor. She didn't say this. She's a professional counselor, and that is her area, so I pass the question.
The stick. Yes.
Yeah, about anxiety and stress, first of all, it is important that we tell our children it is normal to be stressed. Stressful events will always be there. Prepare them, let them know that stress is there, but they can try and manage the stress by trying to keep themselves busy. They can try and try to focus on positive aspects. They can, if they are being stressed by friends, they can make new friends. Then they can focus on, if they are being stressed by teachers, there are always many teachers at school. They can focus on the positive and try and get involved into things that are going to keep them busy, like getting into exercise. They can take walks with friends. That anxiety can be managed well when they it is important they also get someone to share with. It is not good for them to get stressed and they keep quiet about it. If they can find someone to trust, the better. They can share with their friend, and after sharing with someone, they get some relief. Yes, they can also, where necessary, tell their parents about it and seek help, professional help, where necessary. But they shouldn't worry about stress. They should know it is part of life. We should teach them to face it and go through it, because stressing factors are always there. But how do you manage that stress? You encourage them tell them you are not going to die. Yes, you are stressed, but look here, it is just it is for a short period of time. You'll get through it. Focus on what is positive. It is going to help you overcome it with time.
Okay.
Yes, mainly they have to focus on the positive aspects rather than focusing on what is stressing them.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, that's nice. And you well mentioned that stress will always be there.
Yes.
So we have to learn how to deal with stress.
To cope with it.
Yes, yes. Okay. So what advice do you have for parents on fostering a positive and supportive learning environment at home to help the children succeed in the new term?
Fostering a learning environment is a critical thing. It's both at home and at school. A parent is the first teacher. When a child comes home, you look at the report, you see the books. Like for us, we had to check through all their notes and we see what is missing, and we tell them you must fill these spaces. Number two, you provided some materials like textbooks which they needed. Number three, we even avail some coaches, the teachers that can come and teach them the concepts they did not learn at school. And then also at school, we are able to link. We tell parents, you need to know who teaches your child, and in case there is any value the teacher can create for the student, like additional lesson, we advise parents to do that. But we also want to create a positive relationship between our children and their teachers. Some of the children fear their teachers, but also some parents only call teachers when they want to send mobile money. They never call to say, how is my child doing? What more can I do? Which book should I buy? So parents, once they drop children at school, they think learning is only now from the teacher. They only send pocket money. They never follow up whether my child is doing tests, whether I did beginning of term, without waiting for the surprise when you come for visitation and they say your child did not do this examination. So I encourage parents to not only allow teaching and learning to happen at school, but it should happen at home. But also parents are part of the learning that happens at school, because they make follow-up calls, they make visits. And I tell parents, when you visit your child, don't just come with a grab and then you say at home, okay, and you go. Talk to the teacher of physics where your child is weak, look at the book together, so that the visit adds value to the child rather than just dropping grab or money, which most parents think is what children do. So the right environment, I say, is both home and school.
Wow.
Not one of the two.
Okay. Wow, thank you very much. Our time is already spent. You'll give us your parting shots, and then we will close the show.
Thank you very much. I think it has been good being hosted by you.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to encourage parents out there not to give up. Let them continue working hard, work with their children to help them achieve what they are aiming at in academics, and also help them acquire some skill, not to focus just on academics.
That's true.
Yes, it is also important to teach them to acquire some skill. Yes, let them be close to their children, let them follow up on what they do at school. I was surprised, my daughter was telling me that some parents don't look at their children's reports when they go home. They don't, and the children know it, because children, they do what you inspect, not what you expect. So for them, if they know you won't even bother to look at the report, they will do whatever they do at school. And it is very unfortunate that there are such parents who don't bother to look at how their children are performing. They don't bother to follow up on their academics, yet they are paying their fees. It is important that as parents we care about our children's studies, and we support them in whichever way we can.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carol. It's been a great pleasure to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Claire, for allowing us to be here and to conclude this talk show. One of my icons in leadership, and especially medical leadership and being a role model to young people, is Dr. Benjamin Carson. He said in one of his books that parenting is harder than neurosurgery. You'd rather do brain surgery than parenting.
Oh my gosh.
So parents out there, just know that parenting is a full-time job. Parenting is harder than any profession. Some of us are doing what we have never done. We have never parented before. We are just learning with our children, and we may miss the goal. So I want to say lastly that fathers especially have time with your children, but above all, if you're a Christian like me, pray with your children. My children, before they go to school, I have to bless them. Whenever I go for visitation at school, I have to pray with them and pray for them. Pray for your children, pray with them. Just know that children must be brought up in the fear and in the love of Jesus Christ our Lord. So that because we learn from Jesus, our role model, how he was parented by Joseph and Mary, we have to parent our children to be like Jesus. Jesus is our hope and is our role model, and so let's just raise a Jesus generation.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Wow, 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 wow. It's a very beautiful prayer. To you, our dear viewer, of course, it's always a pleasure to know that you are out there loving on us and following this content all the time. I must say we are forever grateful. If you're going back to school, I want to say you are above and not beneath. The Lord is with you. You are a winner in this. And to the parents out there, stay encouraged, be intentional, bless your children, pray with them. All is well. I love you. It is a good night. See you again next Friday.
Family Hour, empowering families one episode at a time. Together, we build strong, healthy, and thriving families with our daily dose of inspiration.